So with that said, hopefully you guys are in for a heck of a treat here. 20 minutes. I'm going to turn this over to the captain.
Thank you, sir.
All right. You're on.
Thank you so much, judges. We are excited to present to you a new event, Fan Fusion, the Celebration of Champions. We are Group J. I am lucky enough, my name is Cole Smith, and I am lucky enough to be joined by Drew Dunham, Tegan Habercorn, and Austin Sigler. So an agenda, just so you guys know, kind of as a table of contents and for the crowd how we are going to be telling this story. This is the order that we are going to be going in. And then just to kind of give you an idea of the scope again, we are proposing to you all a 2-day sports-focused multi-event downtown Pittsburgh, an actionable and effective integrated marketing plan. We are excited to get into it. So without further ado, Fan Fusion, the celebration of champions. Teams have their championship parades, leagues, countries celebrate champions, but the people that make up sports are the fans. The people are the most loyal. So this is the national championship for fans. This is the true celebration for fans. And what better place to do it than the City of Champions right here? Whether you're a Steelers or Patriots fan, 6 championships to celebrate, or an Atlanta Falcons fan like me, where we have 3 quarters to celebrate. We are excited to give all types of fans of all sports the ability to celebrate their sport and to celebrate with everyone together. So an overall event schedule, just a brief, and we'll get into each day specifically. On Friday, there's going to be a kickoff event at a convention center around the corner. This is where you pick up your wristband, bib for the Saturday events, but you also get to interact with the local Pittsburgh vendors, live music, all that you can have, and we'll get into the specifics there. Saturday, there will actually be a race, a 6K, not a 5K, and we'll get into the details of that, but I will tell you, it is one of its kind. And then at 11 a.m. and throughout the night, the bridge will open up, and so there will be live music on both sides, vendors throughout the bridge. You get to really embrace and have a championship-style parade with everyone involved. And then as we look at Sunday, it is a true recovery brunch, celebrate and hear a championship panel of sports legends, sports champions, and so on. So as we look into the specifics of days, Friday, the kickoff event is at the beautiful David L. Lawrence Convention Center. So many people might wonder, why aren't you having it at a stadium? As it is the first year of its kind, I think we wanted to bring everything together and keep it compact, and we will look to expand into stadiums. But the details are simple. You pick up your race bib, you get excited for the weekend, there's live music, there's local business vendors, we're able to get Pittsburgh in front of consumers. You have an art auction from local artists, whether it's sports, whether it's just sports art or even just general art, just really getting the true nature and culture of Pittsburgh. And then along with that, a Pittsburgh Hall of Fame activation, and we will give teams, local teams and national teams, the ability to activate there and get their fans excited, get fans of all kinds to the event. And then Saturday, we're going to kick off that 6K. So at 9 a.m., wondering why it's 6K, well, the Steelers have 6 championships. So it's going to be essentially a celebration of the beautiful city of Pittsburgh, the history behind the city. You'll weave through all of the parts of Pittsburgh that are integral to making this city, and then constant people cheering you on, constant music throughout. It is a very interactive, fan-engaging 6K, and as you hit that 5K mark, it's actually going to be at the beginning of the bridge, and that will actually be because the Pirates and the Penguins have won 5 championships. So you start with kind of a championship parade, if you will, and they will be cheering you on. Both teams will be activating fans, kind of have foam fingers, what you have it. And then as you hit that 6K, you'll start seeing those terrible towels as the 6 championships. They'll start leading you in to the finish line, cheering you on. You feel like you're a part of a championship team. You feel like you're a part of the city. And you will finish at PNC Park, where there will be a race expo. Local businesses will be there, commercial businesses, food vendors, beverage, you name it, it will be there. And even a little innovation hub to show what is happening in the city of Pittsburgh. And as we move on to the later events, so it will open up at 11 a.m. and it will be available until 10 p.m. So this is the Visa Bridge Extravaganza. And so one side of the bridge will have jazz music playing. The other side, rock and roll, 2 integral parts of the culture of Pittsburgh. And then in the middle, as you see, there will be vendors set up throughout. So you can celebrate, have fun, interact with all types of fans, have food and beverage on there, activations, what you name it. People are able to, and vendors are able to buy these sections to celebrate and really embrace the city of Pittsburgh and embrace what it means to be a fan and a champion. And as we move on to Sunday morning, this is the Sunday brunch at Market Square, embracing another side of Pittsburgh, showing the people what it's all about. And we're going to have champions of all kinds, of all sports, and legends there. We hope to have Mike Tomlin there the first year. And essentially, we just have the fans and the people that have come out embrace Q&A with the legends, have people ask them questions, and just the crowd really gets to feel what it means to be a champion and actually gets to interact with those that they see being legends on TV and who they cheer for. And so now, for the opportunity to generate revenue, I'm going to pass it off to Drew Dunham.
Thank you, Cole. So we had three main ways that we wanted to generate revenue. First was from actual ticket sales from our race. So we decided that it would be $40 for a general admission ticket, that would be the main purpose that we would like to sell, but also having VIP premium options that would be available. We'll get in those in a couple slides, but also we wanted to open it up to sponsorship. Look at the amount of companies that are both local to Pittsburgh, but also on a national scale, and then also having vendor sales and rentals, so actually renting a physical space to a vendor and then taking a percentage of their sales. So looking at our first premium ticket option, we have the individual VIP. And while this is only for one person, there would be an opportunity to purchase additional tickets on this package, as it would be a hotel rental. But if you had multiple people in your party staying at one hotel room, you would be able to purchase additional tickets at a discounted rate than this $500. Really, it would give you a fast pass to pick up your bib, a fast pass to the start of the race to start before the general public, and some premium access to food and beverage opportunities. Going into our second ticket package, this would be the individual gold. So this is a higher priced item, and it would have a lot of the same benefits that our individual VIP option had. The one addition would be that there would be transportation included. We know this is a walkable city and you're able to walk around, but if you had your race and you're tired, or if you just needed a ride back home to the hotel, this would be an opportunity where people can pay that premium price to be transported around the city, or at least have the accessibility to utilize that. Going into our final ticket option, we had a group VIP option. So this would be if you knew you were coming with maybe some of your friends, or if you had a family option, you would be able to spend a bit more to save on the individual ticket option, where it would be $1,500 for 4 people. And again, we tried to keep a lot of the benefits the same from the Fast Pass and the food and beverage options, but this would have a Sunday recovery option. So maybe you did your race, you're a bit sore, you spent some time on the bridge, and you really just wanted to recover Sunday. This would be an opportunity to engage with the hotel and have a spa day, really just kind of feel refreshed going back on Sunday wherever you're from. Going into some of the sponsorship opportunities, we hope to generate $86,000 in revenue. A majority of this revenue would come from 3 corporate partnerships. On Friday night, we had that introduction to the event, kind of a kickoff meeting. We felt Home Depot would be a great selection for this. They had previous success with college football, getting people pumped up at tailgates before, and we really feel like this would engage our community and create excitement before our big day on Saturday. In addition, Heinz would be the main partner for our Saturday event for the race and the extravaganza afterwards. Obviously, they are very well known in the Pittsburgh market as they had the previous naming rights to the Steelers Stadium. Now that they don't have that, this would be a great way for them to re-engage with the community in a new aspect that's separate from the Steelers market. In addition, we would like to have Visa potentially partner with our bridge extravaganza with the local vendors. This could be an opportunity to give Visa card members exclusive opportunities, whether it's VIP area or even discounts with our local vendors. Going quickly into some of the other monetary values, we wanted to just showcase that while we do have title sponsors for these events, there are other opportunities to generate revenue, whether it's the start of the race, the end of the race, a recovery zone. These we can go in more depth if any of the judges have questions, but wanted to just quickly go through these. While we did cover a lot of the monetary values, these would be some of our in-kind sponsors. UPMC is a local healthcare provider where they would be able to provide first aid or assistance if anybody were to become injured. And then Pepsi and Ready Ice would be able to provide water and soft beverages and keep them cold throughout the day. And last, we felt that Fox Sports would be a great in-kind partner to broadcast over live radio and TV to help facilitate some of our marketing efforts. Going into just our vendor space rental, we have Friday that would be a $500 rental for an actual vendor space. Be the same price on Saturday with a 15% revenue share from those local vendors. And then Saturday, we would have a higher price for our bridge extravaganza, as this would be our prime event, and it would be increased from $500 to $1,000. Next, Tegan will go through some of our marketing efforts.
Thank you, Drew. So for our marketing strategy, we broke this up into 3 sections and looked at it like a funnel. So for our top-down funnel, we wanted to hit awareness. For awareness, we're using influencers, local artists, and a high school championship. So the influencer that we chose is Megan. Her handle is Steel City Sweats. Megan is a full-time physician's assistant, and she enjoys yoga and HIIT classes. She really encourages her followers to step out of their comfort zones. She was a great pick for our influencer because of her geographical area, and the content she posts is already talking about fitness. So that really goes hand in hand with the 6K that we'll be doing. Next, we wanted to promote all of the champions of Pittsburgh, not just the sports. So we wanted to provide a competition for local artists to create the logos and merchandise for our event. The artists will compete to create the official logo for the weekend, the 6K, and the bridge party. The merchandise that these artists create will be available for purchase at the event and included in ticket packages. This is a great way for the local artists to promote their art. Next, we looked at high school championships to spread awareness of our event. The Pennsylvania High School State Championships we're looking to partner with are football, wrestling, basketball, soccer, and volleyball. High school sports hit all demographics, whether it's from young kids all the way to grandparents going to cheer on their grandkids. So we wanted to partner with Ring Pop and sponsor the student sections at championship games. So this will be special packaging of those Ring Pops with the logo from our event. And then we'll have the student section wearing these Ring Pops, and hopefully as they cheer their team on to success, the teams will exchange their Ring Pops into championship rings. So following along that ring theme, our next part of our campaign is the art of confusion. So we, again, playing with those local artists, we'll have them create championship graffiti. This will all be legalized, but this will be around the city, and as you can see, it has a QR code on the top of that championship ring. So as people go by, they can scan the QR code, and it will have the announcement date and just give them a little bit more about the event. We'll also partner with the mayor to have him come out and kind of say what's going on, what's with all the graffiti, to again raise awareness about our event. So the reason we wanted to create all this confusion is it creates a buzz around the meeting, and it really helps push out our event. So getting the mayor involved, and then he will start the countdown to our actual event. For our awareness campaign, we definitely targeted the Pittsburgh market, especially for year 1. We thought this was the best way to enter. However, we'd also like to target Cleveland, Ohio. The reason that we chose Cleveland as our secondary city is they have a large amount of Steelers fans, and they have the highest index of Steelers fans outside of Pennsylvania, plus they're a really short driving distance from Pittsburgh. So we think this would have the best conversion out of all the cities that we were asked to consider. So next, looking at our middle funnel, we want to build trust with our consumers. So to build trust, we'd like to partner with the Pittsburgh City paper. They already run a Best of Pittsburgh issue every single year. So this can include restaurants, bars, music, artists, you name it, they've ranked it. So this is how we are going to choose our vendors that we have at our event. And that will really celebrate the champions of Pittsburgh, whether that's sports related or not. We will also be having promotional material at these local businesses. And then in turn, because they're promoting our event, we will promote their business within our event. We will be using the Pittsburgh Chamber of Commerce to secure our talent and vendors for the event. This will really help us to establish contact, build relationships, and promote the vendors at our event. Finally, we are going to be providing blocks of hotel rooms. We're really trying to get as many people there as possible, so if we can do anything we can to incentivize groups, we're going to do it, and this would be providing hotel blocks for those bigger groups. And then the final part of our funnel is conversion. For conversion, we'll be doing follow-up emails after people register for the event. This will include a countdown, information about the event, and extra bonuses. We also are going to have a referral system, so if you refer a friend, they might get a discount code. And then finally, we'll have incentives, group discounts, and personalized offers. I'll be handing it off to Austin to talk about our budget.
Thank you, Tegan. And to really break into the highlights of our budget, specifically with revenues and expenses, starting with our revenues, we expect around $900,000. And the main two driving points for these sources of revenue are through race participation revenue, which is we expect a conservative 7,500 6K participants, and at $40 a piece is how we got our number. And then finally, the food and beverage revenue share, where we broke down from ages of 21 to 35, and then 21 to 34, and then ages 34 through 65 on a cost per attendee basis. And then breaking into our expenses, we expect our expenses to be around $716,000. The main 2 points of these expenses come from the venue rental, which this is the rental of the convention center. This is the rental of the bridge. This is also the subsequent 6K streets as well. And then followed up by the miscellaneous expense, which is the development of an app that allows you to register, allows you to pay through it. And finally, then as well has the schedule for all of your events. And then finally, the contingent plan as well. And to really break into what some of our KPIs were, as for number one, it was attendance. This was something that was stressed during the case, and this is something that we try to hit hard on. And so we expected to be around 70,000 local fans and 9,934 out-of-town fans. And why only ages 21 through 64? The buying power rests within these demographics. We understand that there will be fans under the age of 21 and over the age of 65, but that's all of the buying power, most of the buying power comes from within these demographics. And how we came up with these conservative estimates were through looking at the local DMA. At 5% of the local DMA for ages 21 to 34 for Pittsburgh was around 18,000. And then the same was for ages 35 to 64 for Pittsburgh. And then it was on a subsequent decrease from our main external target area in Cleveland and into the other key American DMAs that were provided as well. And as for the local economy, the total revenue generated for the local economy was just over $9 million. And we've got this from looking at the case and specifically the locals and how much attendance average per spending was for each attendee for all local attendees, which is around $94.23. And all of that added together got us a local revenue of around $6,673,000. And then for out of town, they spend a little bit more because they have to stay longer, is around 10,000 people for $237. And the local economy of that was $2,350,000. And for that, we used the case as well for generating the state and local revenue generation, state and local tax revenue generated, and that was from the case as well. And this is also based on 2019 spending numbers, so this is not adjusted for inflation, so we can conservatively estimate that it's around a 16% increase. And for going into our SWOT analysis, some of our strengths were that this is a weekend-long event. It appeals to a very wide target area, and it also has a unique wow factor in shutting down a bridge, being able to run across the bridge, seeing all three major Pittsburgh sports venues within the same 6K. Some of our weaknesses is this event is not well established. This is a very aspiring event, but it's something that we believe can be done, and the budget that we have currently right now doesn't allow for the big name markets that we wanted to bring in. And then as for opportunities, it was adding bigger names to the event. This is something that we think that in the future years, as we scale up the marketing budget, we are able to then add somebody like Pat McAfee, who is from Pittsburgh, who we can partner with his foundation and the Pat McAfee Foundation. And then also just making an annual event, generating at least $9 million annually is very good for the Pittsburgh economy. And as for some threats, we scheduled this around Pittsburgh sports events and also other summer events. And then the same as in Cleveland as well. We tried to find a weekend that would not cannibalize other events as well. And then room for growth for year 2 and 3. For year 2, we already promote local businesses enough as it is. We want to help them even more, and that's through coaching them with successful entrepreneurs and also coaches to get them in front of more eyes and have them bolster up. We want to expand the marketing externally past Cleveland. We want to look into Philly and Indianapolis, which have really high indexes of Steelers fans. They also have Pirates fans and also running, so it fits in with our 6K. And increase partnership revenue by around 50%. expand our vendors. And for year 3, we want to emphasize the fan by bringing in Pat McAfee through our extended marketing budget. And then also we want to expand our marketing further into DC, Chicago, Nashville, Charlotte, increase our partnerships by 3 times, expand our vendors, and also can create a consumer products goods innovation show. And with that, thank you, and we'll open it up for questions.
I am only seeing one mic. We can pass it around. We're used to it. Oh, of course. Oh, right here? Ooh. What? You want to take it? We can give one to each side here.
Hello. Hello. Okay. Okay, yeah, that's perfect. You just turn on the top. Okay. Any questions? Andy, you want to start?
I guess so. Ellie said I have to ask a question. So, one, so if I'm not in, there you go. Hello, hello, hello. If I'm not in Pittsburgh, two-part. Let me ask you: if I'm not in Pittsburgh, what's the big draw for me to come spend the weekend? And 2, I saw on your thing you kind of like you tempered your expectations earlier to Cleveland. So why limit it to Cleveland? And just talk a little bit about that.
So I'll take the first one, and then Austin, you. All right. So the first part is it is the national championship for fans. We're inspiring fans to come. We're reaching out to local markets and national markets, essentially those teams to come as well and to activate. We're trying to bring in every fan and every consumer. In the year's future, we want to incentivize them by actually partnering with merchandise companies, partnering with the official merchandise companies and ticket companies of these teams so they can get discounts as well. We want to make it beneficial for all fans to come. We're celebrating the fans. They're the ones loyal. They're the ones spending the money, and they're the ones emotionally draining themselves as well with these teams. So we really want to give back to them. So this is a national championship celebrating them. So we want to incentivize them as much as possible to come. Obviously, there's a lot of Pittsburgh in there, but we want to expand with legends on the Legend Brunch. We want to expand with teams that are involved, whether it's in the run, that Friday night event. We're expanding it and opening our arms to every type of team. And honestly, if you get a couple of old rivals on the Legend going at each other at the brunch Sunday, hearing old stories, I think it entices it more and it makes it big of a media pull as well. So kind of getting that big media pull along with enticing all teams of all walks.
Yeah, so your question was why we focused on Cleveland externally for the first year?
Why just not? I get why Cleveland, but why just Cleveland?
Oh, yeah. Okay, so why just Cleveland was our marketing budget didn't sustain a full-on national campaign. And so then we looked at our most, I guess, attractive target, and that would be in Cleveland just because of the index and pure amount of Steelers fans.
Okay, now I'll be even louder. I think you guys did a really good job expressing why you chose the 3 partners that you did, but we didn't see any KPIs. So what's in it for the partners to rationalize the value of the sponsorship? And then the second part is, what type of KPIs would you see coming from the marketing plan?
Yeah, that's a great question. And obviously from their aspect, from KPIs and helping those brands, I think obviously top of mind would be awareness. And we had ideas of doing actually signage on the bridge. So this is an event, actually the bridge, I don't know if this was mentioned earlier, the bridge extravaganza, you don't actually have to buy a ticket to go purchase food and beverage on the bridge. So we want this to be a play where you're walking downtown and you see all the people on the bridge, you see all the different vendors. So this would not only get attraction from actually signage on the actual bridge, but then drawing in people that didn't necessarily purchase an actual ticket. So I think that would be obviously top of line would be the awareness that comes with it. Obviously, there would be activations there as well to promote that brand and create that goodwill, and then really just getting in the mind of a consumer, where we felt some of these other brands were doing well in other sports, but really in this running space, they weren't necessarily fully activating, and we felt like we could take their brand into a new consumer.
And then for KPIs from the marketing plan, there are different parts of that marketing plan. One of those could be reference codes from that influencer, Megan, how many people are coming from her page. So that's something that we could easily track. How many people are scanning and signing up or finding out about the event via the QR code on that big ring? How many came from the Pennsylvania State Championship? And then how many are going with the referral code? It's really easy to be able, all the steps that we put in can really track like what that return is from that marketing plan.
I have a question, kind of a logistical question. It looks like Saturday after the race, the big event is all the vendors on the bridge and the bands and everything. So part of the bridge is going to be taken up by a bunch of vendor tents, and then ideally people are lining up to purchase things there. If you're looking at a crowd of tens of thousands, is that an issue? People being able to walk around and everything with every one of these things having lines and having up to 80,000 people on a bridge?
Yes, that is definitely a concern that we had. Do you mind just going to the appendix? We did have that concern going into this, and we wanted to actually go a bit overboard on the security and police enforcement that would be there. So this would be something where we can kind of track how things are going and kind of slow it down if it is getting a bit too out of control, like you said. And this, we wanted to actually put security stations on both ends of the bridge. So this would be where you would have metal detectors, you would have police officers at both ends, so they can control really who's kind of going in and out. And they are able to effectively control the traffic flow where, hey, if we're really if we're getting word from our vendors and workers that are near the vendors that, hey, there's not a lot of space, like it's really crowded, then we can kind of put a halt to it, say, hey, we're really at capacity right now, we apologize, but from the safety, we would rather be extra cautious than try to increase our revenues. That was definitely a concern that we had. Great question.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yep.
Great job on the presentation. I have a question on the revenue distribution. Can you break down the numbers down there? So is it like 10,000 race participants? Is that how?
So for breakdown of revenue, we have it here. It's also in your appendix. It's on Appendix E. For race participants, we were at 7,500. And then for as for getting food and revenue, like revenue share, we expected that ages 21 to 34 would spend around, we would make around $2 in revenue per attendee. That's in that age group, and then around 4.65 for each attendee within that. And that's with, I think it's purchasing a meal and then also purchasing 2 drinks and then taking 15% of that. And if half the people buy that specific like consumer index, then that's the revenue that we would get.
Okay. And then for the sponsorship growth year over year, which you went threefold from
the
2025
original
to the third year, is that right?
Yes. So in 2025, we would have the 86,000. And then in the following year, we'd want to go 1.5 times the original amount. And then in 26 or 27, 3 times the original amount.
And can you give us some insight into that scaling, like in terms of the growth to 3 times?
So I got the opportunity to look into a couple events that are similar to ours. Obviously, we're first of a kind, but we were kind of trying to do it based off of the attendance numbers and scale it. So there were some marathons that had the crowd as big as us, and along with that, and their projections, and obviously we don't have any specific numbers, but the projections of revenues that they increased was by 1.5 and then around that 3%, like a little bit around those, and we wanted to do that for obviously ease of multiplication. But we were looking at the growth of those events, and by the goals of this, we saw that similar events that were growing on the trajectory that we were, their sponsorship value was. So it's, in a sense, a proof of concept, if you will, and the ability to show people that fans across the world want to come to this event, the National Championship of Fans. And we thought that by that third year, we'll be able to 3 times our sponsorship revenue and actually have a legitimate proof of concept.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. You got it right.
I know you mentioned Friday through Sunday for the event. What month were you targeting and the days specifically for that?
August 1st through 3rd. So we saw it as before the Steelers season. Obviously, we were going to have to look at the MLB schedule to make sure the Pirates aren't home, because that would obviously put a big dent into traffic, etc. So August 1st through 3rd of 2025, I believe, were the dates.
Great, thank you.
Yep.
So with your marketing funnel, how many people do you need to hit to get to 7,500 race participants and attendees you need to hit for the top of the funnel?
Yeah, so we estimated for that 7,500 that we would need around 3.5 million impressions through our different social media campaigns and that type of, I mean, we had email outreach and then social media outreach. That was just some of the industry metrics that we found just Googling, like looking at what the expected outcome was and kind of reverse engineering it and finding the amount. And we came at 3.5 million engagements as our like target to reach our goal of 7,500.
And to touch on it, I get really excited about that ring idea because in Atlanta based, I'm from Atlanta originally, in Atlanta based, a homeless man was actually graffitiing. Obviously, it was legal, but someone kept posting it on TikTok, and there was a rise and rise because these murals kept showing up across the city. And I kid you not, over 50 million people were looking at it. So the art of confusion, like no one really understood what it meant. But if you were to able to address it, put a marketing, obviously a QR code, and actually drive traffic based off of that, it could be really exciting. It could be a really cool and interactive way to really blast this out into the open and really make people of Pittsburgh really wonder. And then people around the nation be like, what is going on in Pittsburgh?
Thank you very, very much.